This says if the limit, so this question is now putting limit stuff. It's asking you maybe from a graph and a table and an equation, putting it all together. So as x approaches 1, the limit is 5. Ready, Wilson? So as x approaches 1, my fingers would have to come together at 5, which of the following could represent this function, this g function. So let's start actually with the table. As x approaches 1, do you think on the table my y's are going to 5? As x approaches 1, what are my y's doing? On the left, they're going real big. On the left, I'd say that they're going to infinity, right? Isn't that going to 5,000, right? And what about on the right? Negative infinity, probably. Does it have the point 1, 5? Yeah, but limits don't matter what happens at the point. Limits are what happens as we approach the point. So is 2 good or no good? 2 good. 2 is no good. I would say that this limit does not exist. Let's go to 3, because I think the functions are the hardest. 3. As x approaches 1, does it look like my limit would be 5? Yes. Yeah, my fingers are approaching 5. I'm taking 3. Okay, then without a calculator, we're staring at this. We've got these two functions. What do you think this part represents? If x is 1, my y is 3. That is just a what? This is just a point. So this graph has the point 1, 3. Do we care what happens at that point? I don't care what happens at that point. So this, for this question, is kind of obsolete because I want to know what happens at the limit, not the point. So if I don't care about this, how am I going to use this to help me? Bless you. And this is what throws people off. They're like, but it says if x isn't 1. I agree. My x is approaching 1, but I still get to plug 1 in. I still get to plug 1 in and see what I get. So if I plug 1 in, what are we going to get? 0 over 0. Annoying doesn't mean it's undefined. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It means that we got to factor it. Could we factor the top? Yeah, what is that toot to be? Multiplies to be negative 4, adds to be 3. Negative 3 and... Oh, wait, did I know?
Negative 3 and negative 1.
Has to multiply to be negative 4.
Oh, wait.
Positive 4 and negative 1? That's all right. It's a Monday, you guys. It's a Monday. Does anything cancel when we do that? Yeah. Then can I analyze that limit? As x approaches, what do they ask that were? They want it at 1. Is that right? The limit as x approaches 1, I got that from right there. So I'm going to put my little 1 there. And would I get 5? I'm going to get 5. So that one is definitely the trickiest if you ask me. So both 1 and 3 are both good. Let's try again. This graph, which of the following could be the tables for here's G? The graph is of G. Which one could be these table values? So let's think about this. Where are we approaching? As x approaches what number? Or I guess this is saying they want us to approach 4, right? As x approaches 4, as x approaches 4 is what we're looking for. My limit as x approaches 4, you'd say is about what? 2 something, right? 2-ish. So I might even write myself a little note. That limit as x approaches 4 would be about 2. But is there a point at 4? What would f of 4 be? 1. So which one of these tables looks like it has the point for 1? Which ones can we get rid of? A and B are out because those don't have the point for 1. There's the point for 1. And then how are we going to decide between C and D? What do you think, Sadie?
I would say C because when it's like below 4, it's at like a 2 point whatever.
To the left of 4, right?
And then in the second one, it wouldn't make sense that when it's like 4.01 to be lower.
Right. I love that. And you're saying, okay, so if I'm coming in from the left-hand side, it's going to be less than when I'm coming in from the right-hand side. And this guy is not less than that. I agree with that. That's good logic. Boom, here we go. It says, ooh, on this one, the limit does not exist. That's important. The limit does not exist. which one could represent h? I say let's go to this one last. Let's start with this table. As x approaches 3, does this look like my limit does exist? Are they approaching the same thing from the left and from the right? Willis, you're shaking your head. I agree. This one, it looks like it might be going towards that 7, but this is a 3.9. We can't make that big of a jump. So I agree. This one, ooh, I think that limit does not exist then, right? So I'm digging too, actually. Okay. As x approaches 3 on part 3, would you say my limit does or does not exist? Does not. My fingers do not come together, so that's another does not exist. What do I want to look at for these functions? Do I care what happens at 3? I don't care what happens at 3. Oh, snap. Because there's not a 1, 2, and 3 option. You're right. Let's act like it was an option. And just a reminder, Matney, limits are not what happens at the point, so I'm even going to cross out when x is 3, I don't care. If I want to know if the limit exists or not, I got to check from the left and from the right. And I would just plug that 3 in right here and right here. And if I did, I'd get a 7 up there and a 7 on the bottom. So wouldn't this limit exist? Even though the point doesn't exist? We don't care the point doesn't exist. There'd just be a hole, but my fingers would still come together. So 1 is all good. Let's do another. Graph of this function is shown below, which the following could be table values for f. What does it have to have the point? What's the point have to be? 1, 7. What are we logicking as we go from the left of 1? Should we be smaller or bigger than from the right? As I come in from the left, are these y values smaller or bigger than the right? They're bigger. So as I come in from the left, doesn't this 4 need to be bigger than the 3.9? We dig in some b? Move it. Which of the following has a removable discontinuity? You guys, removable discontinuity just means which one has a hole. That is just a hole, or you could call that like a point. Which one of these has a hole or a point that's making it discontinuous? A, B, C, or D? I agree. This one is just a hole, and you would call this removable discontinuity. I know I'm writing this out. It's just they might say removable discontinuity, or they might see point discontinuity. Both of those are right. These other 3 are called non-removable discontinuities. Like you can't just remove one point and make it continuous or discontinuous. These 3 are non-removable. A point is the only one that's called removable. And then there are 2 different phrases. These 2, do you agree if I'm trying to draw this function, I literally have to jump to continue drawing that function? Drawing it, and I've got to jump. These are both called jump discontinuity. And then this one's got a vertical asymptote that they didn't show you, great. But if it's got a vertical asymptote, where are your fingers going? All the way up to infinity. So this one's called infinite discontinuity. So just some new vocab that they want us to start getting familiar with. Infinite discontinuity, jump discontinuity, point discontinuity. Other words are non-removable and removable. This one says, which one does the limit exist on? The only one that our fingers would come together on, he's exactly right, is D. That one still has point discontinuity. All of these are discontinuous, but this limit still exists. Doesn't matter what happens at that point. Good job. Then number 3 says, the limit as I approach from the left and from the right and the actual point are different real numbers. So they all exist. What do we vibe in? A, B, C, or D? B, you said, Sadie? As I approach from the left, and I'm getting it right today. Phew, Sadie, I've been focused. As I approach from the left, I get some value that looks like it's bigger than if I approach from the right. And then the actual point does exist, and it's some other number it looks like. So I agree with B. We got it. Talk about what's wrong with A? They're both going to infinity, right? They're both going to the same direction, even though this limit still doesn't exist. What's wrong with C? What's this one missing? F of 5. We don't have a point. What's wrong with this one? Yeah, from the left and from the right, they're actually going to the same one. Good job, you guys. Okay. 4. Let f be this function. Which of the following is true? Whew, okay. You're like, vertical asymptotes, jump. Oh, to remind ourselves what the heck those mean, vertical asymptote means that the denominator is 0. And maybe we just start, like, let's start looking at this function, because it says let f be this function. Which of the following is true? It has a discontinuity due to a vertical asymptote at 0 and 1. Well, how would I even get that? We might need to factor out some GCFs here. What can we factor out from the top? Yeah, an x squared, I dig that. What would be left?
3x plus 3.
Yep. What's left on the, or what can I factor out of the bottom? X, and I'd be left with,
X plus, or minus 1.
so good, Sade. So good. So does anyone remember what causes a hole? Yes, so good. A hole is when you can cross something out, a common factor, from the top and the bottom. Do we have a hole here? Wait, can we cross an X out of the top and the bottom? Yeah, couldn't I go psh, psh? So we're going to have a hole where? At when X equals what value? When does this equal 0? Like, close. X is going to equal 0 if X is 0. This one's a little, it's like a little awkward. When you cross out just an X, X equals 0 is that hole. Here's why. What would be my vertical asymptote? When's that denominator equal to 0? 1, right? Because you're like, oh, I know when X minus 1, when that denominator is 0, that would be my vertical asymptote. And then, so if I crossed out this hole, you just cross, whatever you crossed out, you just always set it equal to 0. That's what we just did here. So that's where I came up with that X equals 0. Okay, so we've got a hole here. We also have a vertical asymptote at 1. So it says we have a discontinuity due to a vertical asymptote at 0 and at 1. Do I have a vertical asymptote at 0? No, I've got a hole there. I don't have a vertical asymptote at 0. Do I have a vertical asymptote at 1 though? Yeah, so that part's okay. A removable discontinuity, that just means a hole. Removable discontinuity at 0. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, we proved that right there. And a jump discontinuity at 1. If I've got a vertical asymptote, I will always be approaching infinity, negative infinity, or my limit does not exist. So do I have a jump discontinuity? No, that would be an infinite discontinuity. So I'm going to say infinite. Removable discontinuity at 0, we're digging that. Discontinuity to a vertical asymptote at 1. How we digging C?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it continuous at 0? Nah, fam, we had a hole at 0. It's not going to be D. The graph of f is shown below. Which of the following values has a removable discontinuity? As soon as you see this, just go look for a hole. Removable just means a hole or a point. At what x value do we just have a hole? Ooh, I see 1 and 7 has a hole. 1 and 7, what are we digging? A, B, C, or D? Yup. What if this question asks for a non-removable? Non-removable means a jump discontinuity. At what x do I have a jump discontinuity? 5. Good. Okay. Which of the following? Wow, lots going on here. So using our calculator, we got a vertical asymptote at 2, and then it says at -1, which my graph isn't going to show a hole. Doesn't look like we've got a vertical asymptote at -1, but you guys, if you ever just do trace and type in that x value, -1, look at what my calculator did. It's just like, ooh, it doesn't exist. So now we've got a hole at -1. So which one are you saying, Jack Cliff? Vertical asymptote at 2. Removable is just a hole. Nice job, dude. I agree.